So in this video I'm going to replace this motherboard for this computer. I also want to believe that the keyboard is bad. I'm not sure because liquid went through the keyboard. But this one is a Asus x540sa. So I need to remove all the screws. I do have the motherboard here with me. So I am going to do a replacement. However, I want to believe the keyboard is bad, so we'll just have to do a test. So now all the screws are out and I removed all the screws are out. I was able to do so using one screwdriver, and it's one of my favorite, however. So once you remove all the screws with this model, you have to be careful because there's some ribbons there you have to remove, well, the mouse and the keyboard. So I need to remove them. They're very easy to remove. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Okay, how to raise this up. How to raise this up as well. So once I raise those lid up, we are able to remove the top part of the computer. So what we're going to replace, this motherboard. And as you can see, there's a lot of space inside of this computer. So let's get to it. So guys, we are going to remove this side of the motherboard. While we're going to remove the motherboard, we actually have to remove the screws from this side. The first thing I try to ensure is that we have the exact item before we go ahead replacing parts. You want to ensure that everything is aligned. You can see HDMI, USB port, audio port, Ethernet port, and also charging port also. So that's one of the first thing you want to do. So I'm going to remove these screws from the area. I'm going to unplug the fan and also the speaker. Unplug. We have the data cable for the screen connected here. Want to unplug that. There's another screw here in which we have to remove this screw, and let me have a look. We have another screw here. Then we have to actually remove this board. This board, we have to take this board out because the way this is connected, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go for a different screwdriver because this one is very tight. Right, so this one is very tight. If we try a technique to take this out, we might break it. So you want to remove it entirely from the position so we can get this to move, right? So we have to, let me show you. We have to remove the DVD drive, and we have to remove the hard drive as well. So let me just remove the screw. Should be able to move, right? Let's just move DVD drive. This should give us enough flexibility to get this out, right? So we do have enough flexibility there, right, to take this out. So what we need to do now is to remove this board. Before removing, we still have to look for screws. See, as we remove parts, the bottom part of the laptop is getting extremely light. You want to remove the mobile, the Wi-Fi card, right? Once you remove that mobile card, just like that, we removed the motherboard. We can probably do whenever I have the time, we can probably see if we can see what went wrong with this motherboard. But the easiest thing for me to do right now is to replace it. Some of these motherboard can have CPU chip problem, and when it do have like a CPU problem, you know it's a critical thing. If it's like a capacitor or a MOSFET, you know, those we can easily replace them. So I need to transfer this heatsink to the other motherboard, but I'm not able to get the screw to move, so I need to use a different screwdriver. So actually I have a lot of screwdrivers. Well, not a lot. I have a screwdriver set, and when you have a set with these different tips, it can be very helpful, because what happens is that this is the exact fit, but it just will not move the screw unless it is loosened, right? As you can see, it's loosened, but I loosen it with this. So definitely that's why you have to always use different screwdrivers, or a different tip, or a longer screwdriver to work with. You apply more pressure so you can grip and turn. When you use something small as this, you can't really get the screws out. So as you can see, we have to apply some thermal paste on the new motherboard. I think this is still in good shape, so we're just going to apply some thermal paste and then put the heatsink on. So I'm going to apply thermal paste. This is my thermal paste, and I have this for over 5 years. The funny thing about it is that normally you only have to apply a little bit of paste, not a lot. We are gonna just put back on the heatsink, and yeah, put back in the screws. Like these computers, if you have a CPU problem, where it's a CPU chip or where you have a built-in memory, and your memory goes bad, then I'm gonna tell you, you definitely want to just replace your motherboard. So the motherboard is in. So the Wi-Fi card is in as well. We have this board in which we need to hook up. So apparently it seems as though the DVD drive seems to be very hard to go in, and I think it's because of this metal clip. So there are 2 screws to release it. It doesn't make no sense I forced it. So this has to go in this way, and as you can see, it just went in that easily. So now we have to put back in this here, right? And we have the 2 screws to put in back. So you're better off doing it the safe way than just trying to push it in, because it wasn't going in. I was trying, it's not going in. So even though that's how we took it out, we're done. So actually we have the fan to put in, and I just realized that this is the screw that holds the fan down, right? So let's just put this in, and what we have to do now is to connect the fan. So connect the fan, connect the speaker wire, connected. Then we have the data cable. These are quite normally fragile, so it is something that you want to align and take your time. Right, so we are in, that's connected. We have the screw for DVD drive, and also have a screw for here as well. We also have this screw to go in here. And the last screw, which needs to go in right here. So what we have to do now is just test. The motherboard is now replaced. I remember I told the water came through this keyboard, and is this keyboard functional? We shall find out. So I'm only connecting the keyboard and not the mouse, right? But first what I am going to do, I'm going to connect the motherboard without the keyboard to see the lights. The charging wire is a bit short, so let me put it this way, and that's all we want to see. We want to see when we plug this in, the light should come on. As you can see, the two lights came on, and one is now on. I'm not sure how good the battery in the computer is. Right now I can see that the computer is coming on, so I just want to show you that the computer is coming on. The light is actually reflecting from the outside on the monitor screen, but definitely the computer is coming on, so we know that we are good. We know that we are good. We know that everything is working so far. I do have the keyboard for this computer, so if the current keyboard is not good, then we can simply replace it one time. It's taken a while, but basically we are done. I can see that we're done. Is just to put on back on the palm rest, which is the mouse and keyboard area, and to put in back all the back screws. We have about, I think about 7 or 8 of them in the back, and we're done, right? So it's gonna do a disc check. I can't skip because I do have no keyboard plugged up, so I pull the charging cable out. It's not a good practice to do, but I pull the cable out because that disc check is gonna take a while. So let me go ahead and test the keyboard. We can tell that the battery in this computer is totally dead. Let's plug it in. So the keyboard is turning, no. So the computer is turning on while I hit the power button, but when it comes on, we are going to test to see if the keyboard is actually working. If it's not, then guys, we just do the keyboard replacement. Guys, so far the keyboard is working. That's good sign. Right, let's try startup repair. But definitely so far with those keys, it seems as though the keyboard is working. The enter key, the up, the across, up and down, the power button. But however, if it's not, we will just replace the keyboard. But guys, this video is finished, and I hope it was helpful to you in some way. If you're new to my channel, go right ahead, like this video, comment if you have a question or anything you want to add, and also subscribe. So I'll see you guys in the next one. But for this video guys, we're done. Motherboard is fully functional and computer is working.